Hey, what's up, people? It's blast processing time today, or rather, lack of blast processing. I've got this Sega Genesis that I actually bought on eBay. It was being sold as 4 parts, so presumably it's not working. And I really did not pay much for this. It was only like $10, plus like a little bit more for shipping. It didn't include anything other than the power supply, and so I thought it'd be kind of fun to see if we can get this working. But if we can't, it's not too big of a deal because I actually have another Sega Genesis here that I've actually had this one for a while, and this one does work. It is, however, missing the reset actuator as well as the actual button inside. You may be able to see through there. And so if I can't get this working, then I'll just kind of pull that off of it, put it on this one, and then this one will be complete. So either way, it's kind of a win-win. Now, taking a quick look at this, there are a few concerning things that I already noticed. I mean, I would have rather have gotten something that doesn't appear to have been, previously opened up or anything. But if we kind of take a look around this one here, we can see how it's, that's, it's like it's definitely been tampered with. Nothing really looks bad externally. On the bottom, we're just missing one of the little rubber feet. That's not a big deal. If we take off this side cover, we can see we've still got that shield there on the board. However, it looks a bit bent, like this board's been bent. I don't know if the actual board, it's a little kind of crooked there. And it also looks like the shielding has been cut inside. So no idea what sort of shenanigans somebody tried to do with this. And if we open up the cartridge slot, it looks like there's a little piece of like spattered solder. It's going to be really hard to see from there. There we go. Zoomed in a bit. Yeah, you can kind of see it like right there. So yeah, no idea what's been done to this thing. And so we're going to have to open it up and inspect the insides and see what's going on. And other than some of my observations about it, I have not tried to power it up at all. So I don't even know if this power supply actually works, but we can quickly test it. So let's bring up the multimeter, and I've got it plugged in. Let's see if it's actually outputting anything. So it should be about like 10.5 volts or so, but it's unregulated, so it's maybe a little higher. Let's see what it says. There we go. So about 12.6. Yeah, that's sounds about right. So yeah, appears the power supply is okay. Well then, let's open this up and see what sort of fun surprises waits us inside. All 4 screws are still in place, so they at least left those in, but yeah, you can tell they've been removed before for sure. All right, here we go. So removing, well, let's flip it over because the top comes off a little bit easier. And something's holding me back here. Why does this not want to pop out? Oh, there it goes. Okay. Drum roll, please. It looks a little grimy. It's not too bad. I can't really tell much just from up here, not removing the shielding yet. Let's go ahead and remove the shielding then. All right, and the last screw coming out. That should be all of the shielding screws. Let's go ahead and pull the shielding off and see what it reveals. Nothing obvious. But that's where they cut the shielding. I don't see any reason why. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything obvious. Well, let's remove the board from the rest of the casing. Okay, see what's underneath. They've messed with the power input connector for sure, right there. I'll zoom in on that. Doesn't look like anything else has been tampered with. Potentially the cartridge slot. I can't quite tell just yet. That still doesn't really explain why they would have cut this, though. Well, this is going to be pretty anticlimactic. So they resoldered the connector on the back of that barrel plug, but what the heck? Okay, there we go. But they broke the trace. So even I'm guessing what happened was that this was probably all loose, so they tried to resolder it, but they broke the trace. So there's no power going from that center pin to the rest of the circuitry. And let's see what the heck is going on here. I don't know why it keeps freezing like that. We can see that on the opposite side, there is no way for power to get from the back of that connector to the rest of the trace that goes to this little, it's going to be like a little filter coil. So they probably tried resoldering that and they just could not get it to work again. There's that little piece of solder I was talking about. Is it solder or is it something else? Maybe not. This actually almost looks like mica insulating material. Well, since this is the only obvious issue, let's grind away at some of the solder mask from this trace, and we'll provide a better path for power to get through. And maybe that's going to be it. We'll find out. Now, even though this gap looks pretty big on the microscope, it's actually pretty small, so I may be able to just bridge it after I add some solder to the trace. If I just make this blob kind of big enough. Just like that. That should totally work. Okay, so, I mean, I think that's pretty much going to do it. Maybe I'll just clean off some of that flux a little bit. And I'm going to plug in the power supply to the rear. Before I actually try it out with any game or anything, I will check the 5-volt regulator, make sure that that's actually working properly. So let's bring the multimeter back up. And this LED should light up if that's working, but like I said, we'll check the voltage anyway. So, yep, LED is on. Let's see, ground is middle. And 5 volts is output over here. That's, yep, just slightly below 5, so that appears to be good. Okay, well, I'll bring out a video cable and a game, and we'll see if it works. All right, so I've got a video cable plugged into the rear. I've got a controller plugged into the front. And the cartridge slot actually looks to be in pretty good shape. It doesn't look like it's dirty or like corroded or anything. So I think it'll be fine. Let's bring cartridge out. And what better cartridge than mascot of blast processing himself, Mr. Sanic. So let's plug that in. Let's bring in a capture window. And let's see what it do. Okay, here we go. Powering it on. Hey! Well, that was pretty, a little too easy. Disappointingly easy. So, yeah, that's working. Let's see. Well, let's make this window a little bigger. Hitting start. There we go. So it's taking input. Yep, that's working. Wow. So I'm guessing they resoldered the connector, didn't check any voltages to see if it was getting through or anything, and just kind of wrote it off. So they just decided to maybe make a little bit of money selling it for parts. So, well, whatever. We got it working, so I guess that's good. Let's see. Does the reset button work on this one? Yep, it works. Well, not much else to do other than clean up the case a little bit and some of the shielding. But after that, we can reassemble it, and that's it. And a minor amount of elbow grease later, and it cleaned up pretty well. I mean, there's some scuffs and stuff that are not going to come off. But, I mean, for something this old, it really does not look bad at all. And so, oops. So it looks pretty good. I also did try to clean up some of the rust that was on the shielding. I didn't go crazy on it, just enough to remove some of the superficial stuff. Now, as good as it looks though, this particular model of Sega Genesis is a Mark 1631, And it does have one shortcoming. I'm not an expert on any of these, but from what I do know is that some have like better audio and video quality than some other ones. And from what I've found, this one happens to be on the crappy end of the audio quality. So the other one that I have, this is a Mark 1631A, and supposedly this one has like the better audio quality, and it is noticeable. I've never actually been able to do a comparison for myself because I haven't ever had two of these, but now that I do, this one definitely does not sound that good. This one, in comparison to this one, definitely sounds a lot better, and I can actually do a comparison. I recorded audio from this one and audio from this one, and I'll kind of do like a little quick compilation as you can hear the difference. Just kidding. And from what I've found, it just generally has to do with the basically the architecture of how these were constructed. Like the main boards, like this one has several different ICs that are more like consolidated on this one, and somewhere along the line is where those differences arise. I don't actually know the details. And that's it. That's pretty much going to do it. It was a lot quicker to do than I thought it was going to be. And unfortunately, this one's going to have to continue being without a reset button. Although I guess I could probably take this one off, do some measurements and stuff, and maybe like print out a replacement that I can use on this one, and also replace the actual button inside. But I mean, it worked fine as is. If you need to reset it, you know, just like turn it off and turn it back on. So not a big deal overall. But that's going to do it. And thank you all for watching once again. I will see you guys around the bench.